Kia ora, and thanks for joining me here on this first episode of Alt Shift. Today we're talking to Angela. Now, I first read about Angela in a Stuff article because she is renting her houses out for $1 a week during the coronavirus lockdown here in New Zealand for people who have found themselves in tricky situations. And in that same article, it mentions that she's a wheelchair user. And so I thought, well, for these two reasons, here is someone who is going to have an alternative perspective that I think it's important that we hear about. So I had a Zoom call with Angela the other day, and it was a great call we took for so long. I've actually decided to break that conversation up into two parts. So here's the first part, and part two is coming soon. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you for having me. I feel quite special to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, my privilege. So thanks so much for your time. Do you want to tell us a bit about your situation? Who's in your bubble? Where are you at the moment?
In my bubble, I live currently on my smallish farm in Riverhead, I'm just so blessed to be here. We can isolate here really well, and we've been doing so to clear 2 weeks before we actually went into isolation, mainly because my immune system is pretty had it. But here in my bubble, again, I'm just so blessed. I've got my beautiful son, who I'll introduce you to soon, and I have two of my young carers offered to come and stay in for the whole time, which saved me having carers going in and out, which I normally have because I have 24-hour care. So one of them is currently here, Winter, and the other one is asleep in bed, Lily, because she did night shift last night. And then I have my flatmate, Tony, who's probably still in bed. And then I have a small dwelling at the top of the driveway where I have my very dear friends, Daniel and Meg.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, you mentioned a couple of things just in explaining your bubble that, I think quite interesting. So you mentioned that you've got carers, and you mentioned about your immune system. Do you want to just tell us what you have carers for and the story behind that?
I've had 10 lots of spinal cord surgery, and each time I had to rehabilitate quite madly to get myself back up on my feet again. Each time there was an increased risk of paraplegia. I got through to my 7th surgery, which was amazing. They went in and out of my spinal cord 7 times before I lost my left leg. And I had several more surgeries following that and still retained my right leg. And then at the end of 2018, just for no reason that anyone can put their finger on, I lost my right leg neurogenically, so now I'm full-time in a wheelchair. I have attendant care now, which was an enormous battle to get out of ACC. Actually, ACC have been a battle right from the word go. It took me 6 years of fighting and a lot of big legal fee to get them to accept my case in the first place. And then it took me 2 years after I lost my leg before I actually got care approved. So yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle, but we got there in the end. It was only early this year that they approved my attendant care.
So obviously at this time that we're in with coronavirus, that means
I'm high risk. And my immune system's been damaged through years and years and years, 13, 15 years of being on strong medications. So
you mentioned that you normally have sort of daily carers, and at the moment is actually you've got 2 carers living full time with you. They've come into lockdown with your family.
Would you like to meet one?
Yes,
I told
please.
her, hang on a minute, Winter.
Hello.
Great to meet you. Thank you so much for getting this working. I know we had a few issues at the beginning, so.
It's okay.
One of my tech chicks.
You are a legend. I Angela mentioned that you guys have moved in there. You're part of her bubble. I just thought you guys are absolute legends.
Thank you. It's fun. It's my second home anyway. Even when on my days off, I pop over and say hey.
So good. I said to Angela just before, just hearing you guys and seeing you and hearing what the bubble's like, I'm like, I want to be part of that bubble.
It's a good bubble to be a part of.
She's one of my angels. So I have lots of angels around me, and she does my day shift at the moment, and Lily does night shift. So that's Winter.
Oh, great to meet you.
She wanted to wear her sunglasses, and I was like, no.
At the moment, a big thing that a lot of the medical and caring world is struggling with is PPE. How's that for you and carers?
We've got none. We asked ACC for protective gear, and the response I got from my ACC manager was that consumables for ACC clients will not be altered during this period of COVID-19 virus, and that was it. So then when I wrote back again yesterday saying, well, under the PPE you should be providing us with protective gear, and we need masks and we need etc., she sent back and said ACC will not be making these provisions. Should you need them, please feel free to apply to Ministry of Health. Ta-da! That's it. Good one.
I imagine applying to Ministry of Health wouldn't be a quick process.
Not at all. Not at all. So my sister has sewn me a couple of face masks that are washable.
What do people need to know? How can they actually care and support in this time?
The difficulty with people in wheelchairs is that a lot of the time they have damaged immune systems, and every time that someone goes in or out of their bubble, it's a huge risk to them. So the ways that you can care for them is by doing their shopping for them and dropping it at the gate. You can't even really make meals. You can, as long as they're ones that have to be reheated, no raw ingredients and no salads, no nothing like that. And put them in a plastic container so that they can disinfect the outside of the plastic container first before it comes in. You can do things like my sister did, sew them face masks, because probably half of them are like me and haven't got them either. So we've improvised.
Or what's some wisdom that you've learned and you can share with us?
I think that I have learned in the 5 years that I've been in the wheelchair and the 4 years that I've been on my own, because my marriage of 29 years broke up 1 year into the wheelchair. I have learned that if I live every day focusing on my disabilities, then I'm just a miserable wretch. If I spend every day focusing on my abilities, then that's where I can grow. And I guess in this time of need, show your ability. Take your abilities out, shake them off, and put them to the forefront, because that's what you can do. I saw this ad that said you can train as a real estate agent, and I thought, oh well, I've always loved real estate, going to open homes and such like, so I'll go and do that. It'll just give me another string to my bow, and I'm not without blowing my own trumpet. I was in the top 5% in Ponsonby, and Ponsonby is a pretty sought after area, and it's very competitive as far as agents go. This whole fight with ACC has taken most of my positive energy. What I really wanted to do was go back out there, be a real estate agent again, but be Auckland, potentially New Zealand's first accessible agent. So not just for disability, but for old age. They use walkers, they use wheelchairs, so find houses that are readily accessible and usable. Some are built that way. There's a great company out there called Lifemark who have a building standard for disability. So some developers have taken that on a little bit. It's just getting the message out and getting people to just have a look at themselves and go, you know, am I able to do this? Then why am I not doing this? What have I got to lose?
Thanks so much for watching part 1 of this conversation with Angela. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we're actually splitting this conversation into 2 parts because it's so good, and part 2 is coming very soon where we hear more from Angela about what she's doing, not only with her own properties, but how she's taking it further afield, making a difference in even more people's lives. So make sure you follow For Good Media because this is where all the newest Alt Shift content will be showing up, and part 2 is coming very soon.